Welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. I got to go into Sea of Thieves Fest and spend a whole bunch of time with a whole bunch of fantastic people. I've got some of those people here. I've also got some of the people that I'm going to be seeing in a week on the podcast as well. We are doing the June Gold Hoarder episode. Thank you to everyone who stuck around after the mutiny from Caleb. He did a fantastic job of putting that together and really just kind of saved me from worrying about missing an episode, because I really hate missing episodes. I like making sure that folks that can't go do the things that I'm doing because I'm going to be unavailable to be able to make an episode still get some sort of content. So I'm still working on how I'm going to be doing that with the upcoming episode that is going to be at SOT Fest. That should be streamed live. So just make sure you keep an eye out for SOT Fest when that goes live. Mine should be, it's going to be pretty early for the States, not gonna lie, but probably about around 9 o'clock, I think 8 or 9 o'clock when that goes live. So it's all UK time based, so sorry for the time frames there. But anyway, let's get into chatting with the patrons. But before I do that, I have to thank the patrons that are supporting this content that you're listening to. They're the ones that went over to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast to show their support so that I could make it to both SOT Fests this year, as well as take care of the podcast bills and all that fun stuff. And it's just kind of a thank you for a lot of folks. But anyway, thank you to People's Republic, El Cute, Balls, Bam Bam Bagel, Captain Chonky, Chateau Noof, Super Pack, Zombie Killer, Cloud, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Fergatron, Godhammer 6, Trickster, Jabaro 5, Jorby Jorbs, Carl Embo, Kazia the Aficionado, Nightstar, Lumpy SRQ, Evil Morpheus, Space Admiral Ors, Xbox Mike 29, Murphy Lives, Mutinous Max, Norwegian, Raja the Brave, Registella the Brony Pirate, Replicated Flame, Rust Belt Kid, Skamelt 666, Captain Dasm, Tommy D, TN Professor, Real Big Tuna, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, Captain J Rat of the Flaming Cold Sore, the Lore Chronologist Deadeye Dre, Heger Owl, Jeff H, Ghost Boy 20, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Thor Von Blitz, Windsor Chris, Luke Lore the Insipid Ghost, and Zam. Wow, thank you all so much for your love, your support. I was so happy to get to meet so many of you, and I look forward to seeing the rest in this upcoming Sea of Thieves Fest in just a week. So without further ado, let's get into the Gold Hoarder episode. We had a good conversation.
Stuff Legends foolishness.
Yeah. Which I want to talk about. I want to get some folks on to kind of share their thoughts about it and have kind of like a post-mortem wrap. Because I don't know about you guys. I ended up getting sick on Sunday. I don't know if it was like,
really?
I don't know if it was Sunday night or not Sunday night, Saturday night when we went out, or if it was something at the airport. But I got like hella sick on the way home, and I was out for like 2 days, and I'm still trying to recover. So if I sound a little gravelly, that's probably why. If you ever hear me like randomly mute, it's probably because I'm coughing. So, but I'm trying to like, I'm doing like, I'm hitting the super juices. I'm doing all the things. I'm drinking lots of water, getting lots of rest and whatnot. So I'll be ready for
told
next
you not
week.
to lick those doorknobs.
It wasn't the doorknobs. It was the free arcade joysticks.
It was the railing.
It was,
The arcade.
at least we beat girls. It may have been Rusty's lap.
Yeah, it wasn't my lap.
It
God knows what the
transcended.
best thing on there.
Oh my gosh.
I am missing out.
we don't want your germs, guys. You could have kept your germs at Festive Legends.
Yeah. So
You
Grindar
need to
got the
send them
vid.
over here with Logan.
Don't be bringing him over here, please. We don't need that. We'll get mean
One load here.
I'm gonna be really careful at SOT Fest and walking around and stuff. So I plan on. I don't want to like. I have to live with my wife, so she's not sick. I'm keeping it fairly clean and whatnot. But it was kind of a bummer to get home and be like, ugh, I don't feel good. Why? So, but that's okay. I mean, I haven't left my house to go traveling anywhere since like last year. I never go out really anytime. So it was my own fault. Should have been a little bit better about washing hands and not touching my face, which is always the thing that gets me. But
Or you just need to go out more often and
build up an immunity. Yes,
that's right. Yeah.
Either
Go to more cons.
either live or die
You
by
went
the sword.
here, hopefully.
So my mom's a nurse, and she says that like that's a legit thing. Like there's people who have stayed cooped up for so long that they have lost a lot of their natural immunity to like just some of those normal everyday bugs that are just everywhere, and that they've seen a pretty big uptick in just colds and flu and that kind of stuff because people lost all that.
Yeah.
Being held up for years.
Yeah. It's definitely a thing. But then again, I look at kids and try and understand like how the heck they pass germs at schools all the time. Like I feel like I've got
their immune systems are still learning. You gotta catch
go
it all before
volunteer.
your body stops it.
Go
Why
volunteer
eating
to read
dirt?
some stories to an elementary grade school, and you'll pick up all kinds of stuff.
Oh, I'll have to get elected president for that.
Hey.
All right. So we got a lot of folks. I'm so glad to see you all. I really am. And I wanted to cover a couple things, but I really wanted to get some feedback on the adventure, the timing of the adventure, but also I wanted to get some feelings on Festa Legends as well too. So welcome everyone to another episode of the Keelhauled podcast. We have the Gold Hoarders a little bit later because of Festa Legends. So we'll blame Doug for that one on the timing, putting it right at the end of June. But just overall, let's kind of work down the list so folks can get an idea of the name to the voice as we jump into this. El Jefe Esteban joining us. First off, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir.
Awesome. Godhammer, welcome. How are you doing?
Not bad yourself.
Good. Hanging in there. Carl Embo coming in, staying up late. How you doing, Carl?
Doing very well. Slightly jealous of everyone that went to Festa Legends, but
Ooh,
I'll make up for it next weekend, I'm sure.
definitely. Mina Ferry, as always, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. No, I've dried off and warmed up.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it.
I got a bit wet earlier.
Oh man. Next up, we've got Norwegian. Norwegian, how you doing?
Doing well. Happy 4th of July, America.
Happy Canada Day. Oh yeah. Next up, we've got Regis Stella. Regis, how you doing?
I'm doing good, but I'm super jealous at all you guys just get to go to Sea of Thieves conventions while I'm stuck here in Australia with no little to no anything really.
You just got to make your own. Just got to like start making calls, call up the government, be like, hey, is there an SOT thing going on? Why haven't you done this? Start getting ballots out there, working the process.
I'm not that kind of person, to be honest.
You're not that person until you have to be that person. It's like if you
I'll leave it to somebody more sociably, what's the word? Outgoing, I guess.
Outgoing? Adept? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right. I'll just hit up Micromads. There's Asylum. There's plenty of people out there.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. Next up, we've got Rust Belt Kid. Rusty, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Just in between a niece's birthday party and a 4th of July party. So I'm walking around outside sweating my off right now.
Oh, well, I appreciate you dropping in. Next up, we've got TN Professor. Prof, how you doing?
Freedom! Happy 4th of July.
So for those of you that may not be aware, if you haven't cued into what's going on, I believe today is Canada Day, and in a few days we have the 4th of July in the States here. I don't think anyone else has any holidays that I'm missing out on, special holidays. We just finished up Pride Month, so I don't know if there's anything going on in July outside of that. But anyway, wanted to jump in and wanted to see, is anyone not gotten a chance to do the latest adventure, Dark Deception? Norwegian, you said you done it. Who else done it? Carl, you've done it.
We've done it.
Prof, Hefe, I'm assuming you dragged Rusty around.
As always.
Listen, I've been doing stuff on the ship lately, so watch your language.
What? I was just saying, you got dragged around. Did you navigate?
I've been actually
making him drive the
sailing the
boat.
ship myself.
What?
It took 5 years to do it, but I'm there. Let's go.
Ladies and
And guess
gentlemen,
what? We're sinking ships left and right.
We finally have reached the point of personal growth. It's happened.
He has touched the helm.
We only run into a few rocks and islands.
Only a few. That's good.
I'm impressed you knew where the helm was.
I know, right? All right. So most of you guys have gotten a chance to do it. I did it this week after coming back. And honestly, I got to say, I can see where they're going with things. Like there's definitely some interesting cues. I'm glad that we finally got like a little bit of resolution with what's going on with the rats. Like we've been seeing the rats in social media posts forever. There's been lots of people talking about like, well, I don't know about lots, but there's been lots of people kind of speculating about what the rat is or who it is. We now have the latest adventure. We got to see the pirate lord come in and scold us for just trusting any old pirate lord because, you know, we've seen multiple. So clearly, how could we have not trusted the wrong one right off the bat? But overall, what was the general impression? How did you guys think of this as like the introductory chapter of the next set of adventures?
Personally, I felt it's set up quite nicely because there's a lot of different ways you can go with this now. I was discussing with my mate Dropcell earlier today actually that there's so many open ends right now as to who that could possibly be. You know, are we seeing that this is why it's now going to go like continue the Flameheart side? It's going to go Dark Brethren side? Is it going to be something completely different? There's a lot of opportunities where it can go from here now. So, whilst yes, it was short, it was also very intriguing. The language used and just the way that it was all played out. Basically, I'm excited to see what comes next.
Yeah. Regis, you're saying that it ties to Monkey Island, or you think it does?
Well, for those who don't know, the pirate LeChuck has the ability to shapeshift and take on the form of anybody to fool any idiots on the seas, like say us or in his world, Guybrush Threepwood. So yeah, I think it fits his character like pretty well. I mean, his manner is the pirate lord in quotation marks. Mannerisms, his voice, his boasting. Like, I mean, Ramsey doesn't boast most of the time, but you know, it's got to be LeChuck. Like that imposter's got to be LeChuck. I think this tall tale might be the prequel adventure to the Monkey Island Tall Tales.
I could definitely see that. So I don't disagree. I think this is kind of why we've had such a lull in content for a while. Like it's clear that they stopped where we were with the Briggsy storyline because they wanted to really try and kick things off right with a Pirate's Life, or not a Pirate's Life. I'm reverting to Monkey Island. And because of that, I think that we are seeing kind of LeChuck come in and infiltrate the Sea of Thieves. Anyone else have any other theories that they want to push out there just to get some diversity in the process?
I typed in the chat that it felt short, abrupt. I was happy to have something. You know, Carl's right. It was nice, and Godhammer. It was nice to have something. This season is kind of drug out. But I guess I'm feeling a little fatigue on all of the loose ends of practically every story started in Sea of Thieves. I'd like to see a conclusion to at least a couple threads here soon. Any threads, Brer? Just any threads? Let's see an end.
Do you think that there's because I can only really think of like maybe 2 threads in the story that or in the Sea of Thieves as general, like as a story that we've really had any major conclusions. And one is kind of Stitch or Jim, and the other one being A Pirate's Life. Oh, Godhammer. Yeah. You bring up Merrick, right? Merrick is a kind of a set story.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. 3 out of how many though?
Well, we've got Briggsy and Tasha. Kind of pair those 2 up. I think the Dark Brethren probably going to be a withstanding faction, so probably nothing too major there. But we did find out who the Mr. Stranger was. Carl, you bring up a good point. We've got Rose and George that are off with Pirate's Life, so their story's kind of finished up.
You've got Lassetti and the kids. That's kind of in a holding pattern.
Yep, we don't
necessarily. Yeah, there seems to be a bit of an open end on that, didn't there?
Yeah, we don't know if we're actually going to go get DeMarco's soul from the Sea of the Damned at all, or if that's just like it. That kind of feels like a weird ending. The ending to Mystery One was like, oh yeah, well he's dead, and okay, all right, well next time we get into another adventure. By the way, Battle of the Seas, coming up.
Well, they did say that with DeMarco being banished, they wouldn't be touching him for like years.
Oh, that's
because he's gone.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's an appropriate consequence, I say.
For DeMarco, what did he do? He just tried to leave the Sea of Thieves.
Oh, somehow I heard Pendragon.
Oh,
whoops.
I mean, to be fair, DeMarco is the one that closed down Arena, so in the law.
Yeah, but that's because he
So maybe
wanted
he
to.
did deserve it a little bit.
He didn't.
Maybe
I mean,
a little bit.
What? It would be very interesting if they had kept Arena open, but they had like transitioned ownership from DeMarco to Lassetti and Amaranta. I think that would have been an interesting storyline, but obviously that was not the way they wanted to go with the game per se. So kind of a bummer there. Trying to think if there was anyone else. Gold Hoarder was mentioned, Norwegian.
Well, he's not done. It's not a done deal. He was done. They ended up on a staff, and now his head's in a chest in front of everybody. So something happened to him. Somebody got him out of the pirate lord's hands. So that's going to keep going.
And now he's on my shelf.
So I did want to call this out because it was pointed out to me, and I would feel bad if anyone else was stuck in the same assumption that I made. So if you look at the memento that we have, the memento is one smaller, but it's also fully gold, whereas the Gold Hoarder's head itself is still technically just a skull. It's just that lower jaw that is gold. So I'm pretty sure, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that the Dark Brethren still have the Gold Hoarder's skull attached to that trident, and are using it as a way to transition between realms. So that
we have Gold Hoarder Jr.
We do in the form of Horgath, or Horgath, I think is what it is. From the latest mystery, I think he will actually become the next Gold Hoarder. Godhammer, you're saying segue.
Yeah. Mystery.
Mystery.
I thought it was good.
Oh, you like this one compared to the last one?
The mystery for this one, I understood what they were going for. I know not everybody's happy with it, and I understand where all the lore people are like, man, this one stunk, and I'm like, yeah, that's fair. I agree with that. But I think they set out to do exactly what they planned for this one.
Yeah. And
I believe that it was appropriately hard given this price on the line, or given the prize on the line. That skull was worth a lot of money, and I think it should have been hard for something that pricey. Man, it was fun to watch everybody flail.
Oh man, yeah, it was really stressful at the end there.
And I just want to say that those mystery voyages, I did them all without a guide, and they were some of the best. That was some of the best fun I've had in quite some time in this game.
I really enjoyed them as well too. I want to get to Prof. How are you feeling? Share your thoughts from what you were typing.
Well, I'm glad to hear Godhammer say enjoyed it. It totally lost our crew and many of the people that we hang out with in general. We finished the season. We did our own thing. Some other games came out. There wasn't anything happening on Sea of Thieves, and we wandered off to other games because the mystery just really didn't engage any of us. It didn't pull us in. And I wondered about it because everybody else we talked to just kind of went, meh, we'll go do other things. And so when we came in and did the voyages, we had no real connection to them with anything else because we really didn't engage in the outside game stuff. So it just became, well, let's get the checkbox so we don't miss out on anything. But it really didn't pull us back in for very much. And I guess I'm kind of dealing with this long season. It's the first one where I feel a little bit of a malaise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of bummed.
Yeah.
It just feels like things are just kind of sailing along after so many years, and I'm beginning to wonder, will we be able to count on Sea of Thieves as the draw for these friendships we've gained and continue to come back to it, or is there a next thing we should be looking at? I'm sorry.
No, I 100% get it. I mean, it didn't help that we've had a lot lighter content this season, and it's been a longer season. And then you get a game like Diablo 4 to come out, which has got a great gameplay loop and a lot of friendships transitioning there for the time being. But I'm not going to get into deeper of that, but I wanted to get Norwegian's thought into this because you gave the mystery a C grade.
Giving it a C grade. I mean, first mystery was an F, but C grade for this one just because of the amount of difficulty for it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. I agree that the difficulty was needed. If there was not a real world reward for this would have been terrible to make it that difficult. But because there was a monetary value in this thing, I'm sure that skull was pricey. I'd love to know who got it. Congrats to them. But if it did not have that, this would have been absolutely terrible. The ending to the story was, oh, hey, we solved it. Who was H? And then what was it? Was it a tweet or something later that said, oh, by the way, it was Hogarth?
Yeah.
Then that just kind of killed it. But as far as like the actual stuff in game, that was fantastic. Love the quest, just the new way of looking at this map or this hints of no locations, just descriptions. You have to know the seas to figure out where it is, where you're going. Oh, hey, we're looking for that dock. That was well done. Just that's what saved it.
Yeah, definitely feel you on that one as well too. Good points. Carl, you said no ending video or anything was a shame. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, I kind of expected there to be something at the end of it to explain who H was. I thought once you'll be able to find a clue, maybe a ghost or someone would pop up or something to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But there was nothing. You dug it up and it's like, okay, quest complete,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. And I was like, okay, well now what? I thought, well, maybe they're holding off until the end of the 22nd, expecting them to release a video or something on social media, but just nothing at all explaining who H was as such and why we've just done everything we've just done.
Yeah.
But I felt that was a shame, but the quests themselves, I would love to do more of them, especially that last one. I very much enjoyed that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
FA, jump in.
I agree with that as well. Yeah, I agree. The missions themselves with the descriptions and this and that, I thought was pretty good. I agree that it was kind of nice to have a different way of looking at things. But still to this day, I don't know who H is. Like I know I've heard that name. I don't know who that is. And it would be nice for them to come out and open up a little more about that and have some teeth to it. I was kind of disappointed there was no true ending, kind of like there was an ending to the first one. I thought that it fell pretty flat in that regard. Just that it just kind of was just like, oh yep, we're done, congratulations, and here's your memento, move on. And I didn't love that about it.
Yeah. I first off, anyone else want to jump in before I jump up and kind of round out this? So overall, I would say that if we had the voyage design that was in the second mystery with the small little in-game changes that they did to the live game aspect in the first mystery, with the ending voyage that was in the second one, but then the cinematic that we got for the first one, I think that would have been a great mystery, because it would have felt like a large set of tall tales just kind of played out as a mystery as opposed to an adventure. But right now we have one mystery that is in the game that is amazingly difficult to go through the process to try and get to the ending for, that a majority of people have not seen and will never see. And something like that shouldn't be tied to such an elaborate set of hoops that you have to go through, that you're much better off just kind of going to YouTube and looking up the video at that point. But I really was hoping for something like that. It was a bummer. I understood why they did it, because it was a competition. It was a race. They needed to get you to the end, and they didn't want cinematics at the end to call into question the completion time, because we genuinely didn't know like how close of a race it would be. And there's no way to gauge that when you're trying to build this system out. But for future mysteries, I don't think I necessarily want there to be a monetary incentive for us to want to engage. I think that the engagement should be the design of the mystery and the story that it's telling. I think that 1 month with a couple of weeks is a fantastic period of time to be able to play through that kind of stuff, have that kind of time frame set up. But overall, I would say there needs to be more lore in game. And if Hogarth is going to be someone that is kind of transcending the mystery and moving into a major role in Sea of Thieves, that I would personally really like to have a couple adventures kind of propping him up as kind of like a, hey, this is who this is what's going on, beyond just the comics. Because even the comics, there was one comic, there was maybe like 8 or 10 panels with him in it, and you don't really get a sense of the character for who that is as you're kind of playing through it. So I would love to see them kind of tee off a Horgrath kind of a storyline after we've kind of resolved some of these other ones. Like, I'm okay waiting for it. Anyone want to feedback off of that or have any thoughts or how they feel about that kind of an approach?
I just wish they would stop with the social media stuff, just making you have to dig through their profiles. That ruins it absolutely. Like, correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but going in, making everybody dig through their Spotify videos, scrub their little scenes on there, and then a week later or so touting, hey, we hit a 10 million or however many downloads it was on Spotify. It's just take away the social media aspect from it completely, and we'll love it.
Yeah. I joined to play a good video game. If I'm going to engage in social media like we do all the time in Discord, it's because you've made quality content in game, and it's not, what they're doing doesn't feel organic to me. They tell wonderful stories, and I want them to do that.
Strong points. I don't disagree. I definitely like it when the lore is in the game, especially if the lore is persistent, so that others can kind of follow the same breadcrumb trail that we did when it first launched to be able to engage with it. At the end of the day, it's a delicate balance, right? Like, you got to promote the game to keep the game healthy, because you got to have new players coming in, because eventually people will pick up or drop off from the game. And the only way to do that is through social media. Once you've launched, you don't have any press talking about the game on a regular basis unless you put out really like big updates. Like, I'm talking like Pirates life-sized updates. And Sea of Thieves is a live service. Just they can't, like, we're seeing this right now. Like, Monkey's Island is stalling a lot of the content. Captaincy stalled a lot of the content. Pirates Life was there was a good stall there. It wasn't nearly as bad, but we didn't necessarily have like a set cycle of stuff. We had the mercenary missions and stuff like that. So kind of give them a pass on that one. But overall, these large content drops, the ones that get headlines, that get attention, the things that bring people to the game that they normally wouldn't be, cost time and effort. And that is always going to be a really tough balance for a studio, especially as one as big as Rare, with them working on 2 games at the moment. So I will be very curious to see what lessons they took away from this and how they can try and evolve it. And maybe, I think mysteries are kind of that like, they haven't quit making Tall Tales. Obviously those are coming out with like Monkey Island, but they're going to be a pretty contained thing. But we also have adventures, and I think as long as adventures are flowing, the mysteries, if those are going to be the ARGs that they are intended to be, I think it's going to be something that a lot of people will either engage with or not. And there maybe necessarily shouldn't be as much lore tied to those, because they're designed to be ARGs, and we could just kind of focus on the adventures for our stories. Norwegian, you had some points you wanted to bring up, Prof?
Always go first, Prof.
This season has caused me to question what Microsoft's real plans are with Rare. I understand that in the initial acquisition that Rare was given a sizable investment to put into Sea of Thieves, and it has been at the top of every promotion Microsoft has done since. It is a premier game in Microsoft stable, and in many cases the only real new game that Microsoft has had that has any significance as far as I'm concerned. And yet I get the feeling that Rare is struggling trying to manage the resources, as I feel like they have dwindled for Microsoft, and Rare's trying to figure out ways to do revenue streams with other things. And I feel like some of the social media stuff is them trying to prove, because of some metric that Microsoft has set up for them, that it still matters. But I just don't know. I feel like Microsoft has set them in a prized position, and I just don't feel like they're leveraging it and allowing Rare to have the ability to leverage.
I would
So,
be
can I just
very.
quickly jump in on that?
Yeah, jump in. In Norwegian, I didn't want you to be forgotten either.
Where you talk about how they're pushing their tweets and social media and that, they've done this a month before they announced. Well, whilst they're in the middle of it all, actually, at the end of that, they then announced Monkey Island. So they've drummed up all this traffic to their social medias, and then have done a big release. Personally, I think that might actually be really smart marketing, because if you did it on an account which isn't really tweeting much and not many people are engaging with, you won't have as much of a reach. Whereas with Monkey Island release, after everyone's been interacting with their page, I think they might have actually timed that quite well, which is why the actual mystery ended on the same day as the news dropped. So rather than it being a case of them having to hit certain numbers for Microsoft, it could actually be a case that it's very clever advertising.
It's possible, but I would question, or maybe ask you, do you think that people outside of the Sea of Thieves ecosystems were the ones engaging in social media for the mystery?
No, but if you look at especially Twitter at the moment, it doesn't matter what you're engaging with. It depends on what other people you follow are engaging with. Twitter would rather push the things that other people are engaging with than what you'd like to engage with. So that's my thoughts on it anyway. But more of a presence online is never a bad thing before a massive announcement.
Norwegian, I know you had some thoughts that Prof jumped in and got on. Did you want to share yours?
He echoed a lot of what I was thinking and feeling. Microsoft obviously still supports Sea of Thieves. They're featuring it this week on the reward system. But with everything that's coming out, I don't know if anybody else has been paying attention to the whole court ruling and everything. There's a lot of information coming out right now. And it just makes me wonder as to, Godhammer said, do they need it? They have an obligation to promote it, but do they need it? So he put that pretty well.
I would say that currently Microsoft is investing heavily into Rare, both as a studio, but also as Sea of Thieves. I can't share why I believe that, but I know that they are. I think a lot of that will hopefully come to light in the next few years, but I don't know what the timeline for that looks like. What I will say, though, is that Everwild is something that the studio is currently uneasy about, in my eyes. I don't know that they have a solid foundation for a game. I think they've got a great premise and a great world with some really beautiful things. But I don't think that game is moving forward in a strong enough way to be able to justify the development time that may be getting pulled away from Sea of Thieves, if that's the case. And if I were Craig, I would probably take a look at like how the stints are going with stuff and kind of say like, okay, is Everwild going to be ready in the next 3 years? And if that's not the case, I might want to bolster Sea of Thieves. I might want to bring some of those devs back over to Sea of Thieves and say, hey, how can we start getting more content out? How can we start getting this game locked down? How can we start addressing some of the biggest issues that we've seen with the game? Because I don't think that there's really anything that's been said about Everwild for the last few years now at this point. And unless we start seeing something real soon, I'm starting to think like, what's going on with that game and where's that time going? Because it's at this point, it's about time.
Logan, it feels like Rare has to make some real tough decisions on how they divide resources. And those choices right now feel like it's restraining the game and what could be out for us to play. That's kind of a selfish thing to look at, I want to play.
Yeah, we want content. Where's our content, Rare?
I think you're right as far as time on games. There's that other pirate game which shall not be named that just never materialized from another design house, and its time is done and gone, I feel. So these games, they take so long.
I'm thinking it's very interesting to me that Sea of Thieves has done so absolutely fantastic. Because at the beginning of the game, everyone was saying that it needed more content. And here we are 5 years later, and that's exactly what we're still saying. We want more content. And I think a lot of that comes from a love of playing the game, but a desire to have something fresh. And sometimes I wonder if maybe there are some core features that could be taken a look at to try and artificially reset that mindset of, I need something to do, or I need something to push me forward. I need something to give me purpose beyond just the experiences that I have in the game. So I always go back to this, but the prestige system for trade companies, I think, would be very interesting. I think that the allegiance system. Wait, no. What is the system? Why am I blanking on this? What is the system that we work on every month, every season? We get those rewards. It's not the allegiance system.
Ledger.
Ledgers.
Emissary
ledgers. Thank you.
Renown.
So those, I think, are good kind of long-term goals for a season. I think that the plunder pass could definitely deal with like a little bit buffing of experience so that people are able to kind of, enjoy it throughout more of the season as opposed to the first few weeks or the first month. And I definitely think that the game could have a prestige system with the trade companies, allow you to pick a faction that you like, reset the levels, and start slowly grinding your way back up to kind of feed into that need to want to work on to something like that. And you can, now that we have a captaincy system, you can build in little trinkets and little goblets and doodads and daubles and stuff to put on your ship to be able to decorate it and say like, oh, well, now I'm getting the gold hoardiest of ships that you've ever hoarded, and just build it through the prestige system. So something like that, I think, would really help try and bring folks back into the desire to play it on a gameplay level, not necessarily like what's coming with all of the lore and the characters and stuff. Just give us a reason to really hone in on what it is about playing in the game that makes that aspect fresh. What do you guys think? Am I crazy?
I've finished all of my Merchant Alliance commendations, so yes, I want a prestige situation because God knows I just want to get back out there, deliver more pigs.
Why the pigs?
I think it's with a prestige system. Sorry, with the prestige system, would it reset all accommodations though? I would hate a prestige system which removed all your commendations, had to start from scratch from level. Sure. Additional commendations, yes.
What if
Just don't make me catch another 500 pigs.
What if they added levels? Like, so instead of grade 5, it goes to grade 10, but you have to prestige every time you want to open up a new level of commendations.
I mean, that would probably work, actually.
And
as long as I don't have to redo another 500.
I'll do you one better. I'll throw in cosmetics that are locked behind that.
Okay, now you've... Yeah, I'll be down for that.
Give me anything that has cosmetics locked behind it, and I'm game, because it gives me a physical, tangible something to work for. Just a title or a whatever. I could care less. But you give me a set of sails or an outfit or something to go after, and I have an endpoint to go for. So if they would do more of that, I would be happy. Whatever that looks like, whether it be a prestige system or anything else, just give us more content to unlock.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to me because I see that they're doing gold sinks right now with the trade companies, with the separated parts of a costume per se, and the different types of weapons that they're offering at exorbitant costs of gold and stuff like that. And I think how perfectly those would have been as rewards for being able to prestige your trade company. If you had said, I want to look like a gold hoarder. I don't want necessarily a costume, but I want to be able to play around with those cosmetics. And they had taken those and they had given you a way to prestige the entire faction. They said, you know what, this is exactly what you want to do. That's fine. If you want to be the gold hoarder of the gold hoarders, then we'll work towards that and you can prestige it. And then offer those cosmetics as the reward. I think that was what I would have pitched if I had been like in the room where when they were talking about this kind of stuff.
I don't know the technical issues, but are adding those assets or those changeabilities for each pirate, are they bumping up against the constrictions of dealing with the old systems?
Potentially. It's really tough to know, but I know that, they are sticking with Unreal Engine 4 for now. They've still got issues and stuff that they got to work out, but I mean, they've been able to make this game grow and expand in ways that had you had asked 2018 version of me, like what I thought this game was going to turn into, I'd have been like, no, that's crazy. They kept talking about like performance and stuff. Like there's no way it's not going to happen.
I feel like if you open that closet, that it would just be filled with chewing gum and duct tape and baling twine.
It's just like skeletons of engineers who've died trying to fix things. Could totally see it. Somewhere in the back there.
Come to join me, crew lad. Welcome aboard.
Oh, go and jump on, Hammer.
While we're in the subject of long-term rewards, Hourglass rewards for 300 to 900, please.
Yes.
I want them.
Why is that so lackluster? Why is there such a breadth of space?
Give them to me.
Because I think the majority of people are not even close to 100 yet.
That's also fair.
When I mix in there, I get the feeling like it is a hardcore group that either people are struggling still or have given up, or you've got just the hardcore in there.
Yeah, I definitely see it.
I tell you what, I ran into a guy with the gold skeleton, level 2000. I'll tell you what, that guy was Jason Bourne. he was death incarnate.
The crew that I usually sail with, they managed to take out a brig with 2 gold phantoms on it, ending their 19 streak. And
wow,
I was so happy for them.
Whoa,
that's insane.
That's an accomplishment,
especially on the 19th. Can you imagine that crew being like, we were so close to 20? Son of a...
Shoutouts to Burn, Princess Juju, and Lethal Charge. Way to go, you heroes.
That's awesome. So, but I think that these are great ideas. These are the kind of ideas that I love being able to take to SOT Fest and being able to hear feedback from other people as well too. It's what I love about our Gold Hoarder episodes, because you all play the game. We all play the game. And I think at the end of the day, like Norwegian says in chat, like we all still love the game. We all still love the community and the friends that we've made along the way, to quote Norwegian. I think that the thing here is there are desires that the studio has for content, and because things have to be so hush hush, because you don't want to promise something and then have it not happen, i.e. captaincy. Look at that, the years it took for that kind of thing to come to fruition. I really think that they want to kind of keep things close to the chest, because they really do want to surprise us. They really do want to make us happy and stuff like that. And even when they do tell us like a little bit of what's going on, it can never be just like, oh, hey, by the way, so 2023 is going to be a great year. We're going to have a bunch of new mystery content come out with a Gold Hoarder skull. Look forward to that. Plus we've got Monkey Island in the summer, and then we've got Flame Heart's End in the end as a beautiful wrap up to the Halloween time with Festival of the Damned, and then we're going to bump it right into the next orb stream, which is going to take Flame Heart and Duke into a really big battle together for the love of Flame Heart and the Warsmith, and who's going to win there. One of them's going to die, and then we're all going to be sitting there thinking like, okay, well, that's the year. And then half of it gets pushed back because of development time, development issues, other things like that. But then you've got other people that are going to be like, why are you all focusing so much on this? There are still so many aspects of the game that are broken. There are still so many aspects of the game that need attention. So many people still constantly shouting from the rooftops about anti-cheat. And we just got a post listing out all the number of accounts that got banned, all of the number of people that got like hardware banned. Like they went and just announced thousands of people that have been banned as a result of reports and stuff like that. And still, in the comments, I see lots of people, this isn't good enough. Where's the anti-cheat? So it's really hard to know, like, when are we going to be satisfied? And it's really tough to say, because I think a general flow of content will help with that, but it will always still be met with mired expectations or opinions based on how it hits for different people. Prof, you say never satisfied?
Never satisfied. Okay, so we have been kind of bringing it back in the chat to the positive. This game has brought people together. We've said it before that we just never would have met. And to bring it around, if you're not ready, you can just stop me. But Legends Fest proved it to me. The imaginary friends I made in this game years ago when it started, I found out are real life friends. We had just as much fun hanging out in real life. And if anything, I'm jealous for the time that we get to play together, and I'm jealous, and worried because Sea of Thieves is where it started, and if Sea of Thieves struggles, well, then what with the friends that I made here? And so it's kind of the reason I can't be satisfied is this is the place we've chosen. We found each other, we chose to stay together and play, and I just don't want it to not be there.
That's fair. I hear you loud and clear. I guess I won't be pivoting this podcast to Mario Kart 8 then.
We're pirates. We all are armed with pointy objects, so you just better keep this ship pointed in the right direction.
All right. Well, when Skull and Bones comes out, I know what we're doing then. No, I hear you, because I wanted to hear some from folks that have been over at the SOT or the SOT Fest, the Fest of Legends. How did you all feel about it? Folks that didn't get to go, what were you seeing on socials, or what were you seeing in the Discord that you really loved? Like, how did it like, good, bad? What'd you all think? Let's kind of break down like how it works for you.
So I went into it with the mindset of the event itself could be an absolute, complete bomb failure, and I would not care, because I was getting the opportunity to spend real life time with this group of about, 10 or 12 of us that were there, that we have played together for years now and have developed what I assumed was real relationships, and it turned out that is actually the case. And just that aspect alone made everything great. I mean, the event was fine. It was, with everything, there's always opportunities to learn and do things, make things better. So I'm looking forward to next year. But just the fact that we were able to all get together and spend that time and those days, it meant the absolute world to me. Because this was probably the first time. I guess this game is really kind of the first time I've ever kind of made any, like, quote, online friendships through gaming. So 5 years ago, that was kind of a new, just a new thing that I had stepped into, because up at that point it had always just been kind of single player games or local co-op or whatever. But as Prof said, we have formed real, meaningful, lasting friendships through this silly pirate game, and it's so stinking cool. And somebody asked me, they were like, well, so you're just gonna meet these people just for the first time and you're just gonna hang out? I'm like, yeah. They're like, is that gonna be weird? I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be weird, but we'll see. And it absolutely was not. It was as if we see each other every weekend. It was cool. It felt like a family reunion in so many ways, and I cannot wait until we can find an opportunity to get together again.
Absolutely, and a call out to everyone who wasn't able to make it, especially those who were within driving distance and still were not able to make it. Chenzo, I hope to see everyone again and more.
Hear, hear. No, I definitely, I had an amazing time. I knew it was going to be like, our group kind of hanging in there and coming to see each other and stuff like that. Overall, the Fest of Legends, Doug did a great job in picking the venue and kind of judging it adequately. I think it was really great to see, like, they had stuff planned. They had content creators there to talk about stuff. They had Race of Legends. They had Cutlass Crusade. They had like a mini Race of Legends, which was fantastic. They had little tiny boats that had sails, and you got to paint your boat and you get to design your own liveries. And I was like, oh God, I kind of want that in Sea of Thieves. And then to see them, you know, like have them all laid out and stuff. And I'll be honest, like a lot of what happened at the actual event, I missed out on. I didn't actually really get to spend a whole lot of time actually enjoying the fest itself. Most of my time was spent sitting at the tables that we had like locked down the first day and just took over. And that was our little Keelhauled section there. And it was either going out to have lunch with friends and try different cuisines like Cincinnati chili, which by the way is Skyline. No, I didn't do 5-way. And just see, like we went out and did an escape room during the event, like at that point, and it was like 6 of us, and it was like, we're just there to go have fun. So I'm with you, Hefe. It could have been a bomb. I don't think it was. I think they had some technical issues, but I mean, like, drinks were on point. The venue was nice. It was cool. They had a bunch of different things going on. They had some people painting. They had some people hanging out and playing. They had plenty of systems and stuff. I think hopefully next year I'll have a way to play that won't necessarily be like through my phone, even though that was a viable thing. I don't know that I really liked the idea of signing into my Steam account on a random computer, just because I don't really use my Steam account. So I would much have rather have logged into my Microsoft account. But Doug did a great job, and anyone that helped did a great job as well too. The cosplay contest was fantastic. I think I saw some really amazing costumes there that time, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. Even if next year doesn't necessarily work out for everyone, I hope that some folks that didn't get to come this year will hopefully get a chance to come next year, because it was amazing. It was just heartwarming to see so many folks from our community come and show up, and even the ones that like are really kind of quiet. Like I saw Tommy D. He introduced himself and whatnot. Got to see him. I don't think I got to see Punish there. If I did, I really wish that they had sat down with us at our group table and stuff. But I understand. But overall, I think it was fantastic. And I'm looking forward to, in a week's time, being able to do this all over again with all my UK folks, because Kylia, the aficionado, gave me a bunch of stuff. I'm bringing it with me for you guys. And it's just such a fantastic get together. It's such a fantastic movement to see everyone come together and build this up. And Regis, I know that you don't have one down there in Australia, but reach out to folks, talk to folks, push them. Tell them to work on coming up with something down there. Melbourne, very popular place. I'm sure they've got some great venues. I'm sure like some folks could come down from the Gold Coast. I'm sure some folks could travel from the West Coast, head down there, push.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do, man. Just push. That's what I did to Doug. He eventually did it on his own. But I know that it just takes a few people who have an idea of what has to happen and commit to it.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that we can get an event here, because I don't think I'm confident enough to actually do bring together an event. But I'm sure maybe some of the CFEs, Australian-born CFEs creators can do it here. But all it takes is a little push and just a little bit of courage, to be honest, for me.
And also, like, if you don't think that you can do anything as far as like planning or content creation, anything like that, they always need volunteers. They always need folks that are willing to just give a little bit of their time to help move stuff around, or help, find ways to gather things, or look for other people who know how to support and just talk about it. And that'll always help. That'll always be a boon.
Those aren't pieces of 8. They're just pieces of junk. Aye, the original plan was to use 9 pieces of 8 to bind Calypso, but when the first court met, the brethren were to a 1. Skint broke.
Yeah, but I live in the redneck state of Australia, which is Tasmania. So I doubt they actually need support from from the mainland. So I'll have to wait and see.
Never know. Never know unless you try.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Also, we do need. Also, for those who are wondering, we do need a Keelhauled flag of our own for those events.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're supporting the Keelhauled podcast.
I need to get like a little oars. Space Admiral Oars showed up to the airport to get picked up, and he had a little headband. And on top of the headband, there were two little flag poles, and each flag was waving a small little Canadian flag, and that was the identifier for how he was supposed to get picked up from the airport, which was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
I need to find a little suction cup with a little flagpole that has the Keelhauled flag on it. So I'll see if I can find that out, and we'll plan for next year. UK folks, how y'all feeling about next week?
I can't wait.
I'm very excited, although there's a lot of driving involved. It's going to be fun.
Yep. 8 hours for me.
Well,
Plus
I
a
decided
14-hour ferry.
Oh, yeah, you got the ferry as well, haven't you? Well, I'm going down south to pick some friends up, then going back up north, then going back south, and then going back north. It's ridiculous over that weekend.
Oh man.
No, I leave here on Wednesday and drive down Friday.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to catching you all. Last year was a blast. I'm sure this one's going to be even better.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really, really fun time. And I know, Carl, you've been steeped deeply in the SOT Fest Discord as well too. And I'm so looking forward to seeing everyone again that I saw last year, and hopefully more folks that'll actually show up. I can't remember if Falcor's going to be there, so I'll have to be sure. Yeah, so it'll be nice to actually get to meet him in person. After knowing him and chatting with him for so many years and stuff. So lots of folks to meet. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. I know they're going to be streaming it. I haven't quite worked out like how I'm going to be doing the episode. But there's a good chance that I might have them clip the podcast recording if that's what they're doing. I may have to pack a laptop. I don't actually know. I should probably find out about that because it's like a week away. And I'm leaving in like 4 or 5 days, so that's important. But anyway, was there anything else?
One advantage is it should be a bit cooler this year compared to last year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm not used to hot living up here.
No.
I remember last year you were like not having it outside.
I survived.
All I think of is Joby one when he was dressed up, and he just stood in front of that big aircon unit by the entrance.
Oh yeah.
Don't blame you.
Yeah.
Especially all the full cosplayers. Like, yeah, I do not envy you at all. So
man, yeah, there were a lot of brave souls out there that had spent some time to try and dress up really nicely with full makeup and garb and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm glad I'm not them right now. So I think that is gonna do it for the episode. Anyone have any last thoughts or anything they want to share as we head out?
I do have one last thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, jump on it.
I'll address the elephant in the room. Caleb, good job on your episode last week, but back to the brig with you. Don't come back out. But we enjoyed it.
I'll agree. He did a good job, and it was fun. Me running out to the parking lot during Fest of Legends, record little bits on my phone, and send it to him to do the kind of intro outro stuff. He did a great job. So good job, Caleb.
I was very glad that he was able to build that up for me. And I think he might be up for doing it at some point in the future. But Caleb is one of those guys, very passionate, very, very goofy, but I love him for his commitment to wanting to make content good, knowing that it's me asking him to do a show for a show that he's not on the regular, and asking that of someone and having them being willing to go full on with it. It's hard to find friends that'll do that are competent enough to be able to handle that and know that they can do that. Cause I did not have time to give him anything. He made it all from scratch. and he just supplied me the finished product at the end of the week. So shout out to Caleb for doing a fantastic job with that. And shout out to you guys for helping out with that too, because that was really cool. I really love that intro and that outro. It was great. So very happy to be back in the seat in the dry and be back at the helm and be able to steer this boat for another week. And then we'll see how things go. But anyway, I think that is going to do it. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Hefe, anything you got going on you want to share?
No, it's just life is normal. Just keep plugging along.
Fair enough. Hammer, anything you want to drop in?
Less than a month away from new Tall Tales. Woo!
Yeah, baby, it's going to be so much fun. Anybody playing is anyone doing Monkey Islands 1 and 2 before the Tall Tales come out?
My sister is, and she's joined it. Oh, sorry.
I've never.
Sorry, Regis, jump in. Hefe, let me get you after.
I was gonna say my sister's enjoying it so far, but she hasn't played it in like 2 weeks, so yeah, she's enjoying the humor.
Gotta push.
Yeah, she played Sam Max before. I'm like, you played Sam Max before you played Monkey Island that came before it? And then I'm like, yeah. So yeah, it's a nice experience for her. Like, you know, experiencing the what many call the gaming royalty, mind you.
Sounds good. Hefe, you were gonna say something.
I was saying I've not ever played any Monkey Island games, but I feel like I should, because everybody keeps talking so well about them. So maybe I can find some time to do that.
They're pretty short, and honestly, like the little things that we did in this latest adventure are going to be really, really important in Monkey Island, because they kind of kicked off a little bit of that work out what you're supposed to do without telling you exactly what to do. So I think if you spend some time in Monkey Island, maybe have a guide next to you and stuff, as if you get too stuck, that kind of point and click adventure, I think will help a lot when Monkey Island actually comes out, because I know that design is going to be in there already. Where were we? Who did I go with last? Godhammer.
Carl.
That's right. Carl's next. Carl, anything you want to shout out?
Just a massive congratulations to Doug on the success of Fest of Legends, and of course everyone who goes to Softfest on Saturday. If you see me, feel free to come and chat, and I hope everyone has safe travels.
Good call. Mina, we're out of here. What do you got to say?
I also would like to wish anybody traveling to Sea of Thieves Fest here safe travels, and I will be there, and I'm happy to say hello to people.
Alrighty. I was told I need to pass on Norwegian for the outro, and just to say that you guys should be utilizing the Sherpas in the Discord. Make sure that if you have questions, concerns, comments about how to play the video game that is called Sea of Thieves, that you reach out to the Sherpas, because they're there to help you get in there. And it's always nice to have Sherpas, because if you don't, you get lost and then eaten by bears somehow on the seas. Regis, we're heading out. Anything you want to share?
Not much. Just again, hope there's a Sea of Thieves Fest here in Australia. Just, you know, again, I'm not gonna be the one to you know, make it myself, but I will try to convince other Australian-made content creators to, like, you know, make one here. So hopefully it'll work soon rather than later. Like, yeah, hopefully this becomes a new thing, like a new Sea of Thieves convention in a different country every year, at least once a year.
That'd be great. If you're an Australian and you're listening to this and you want to help try and make that happen, feel free to reach out to me. I'll see if I can get you some help from the UK and NA people. They can give you some ideas or some tips on what to do to get started.
Yeah, look at you, Cynic, Asylum, and anybody else in between.
Alrighty. Yeah. And last up, we've got T and Professor. Regis had to step out. Or not Regis, I'm sorry. Rusty.
Yeah, I did. Just a happy holiday to everybody. Don't drink and drive. Remember to keep all your fingers and toes while you explode things for the 4th. Have a great time. Be a good pirate.
Thank you, Prof. And as always, make sure you're taking care of your animals as well, too. They don't understand fireworks, and that sucks for them. This is like D-Day for us. Other than that, pirates, thank you all so much for joining me for another Keelhauled episode of the Gold Hoarders, this time for June. We will have another one at the end of July which will hopefully be on time as usual. And this time we'll probably be talking about Monkey Island, right? Like we're going to be talking about the first Tall Tale, and then we'll have the next Tall Tale to talk about at the end of August, and then we'll have the next Tall Tale to be talking about at the end of September, which will probably be on Talk Like a Pirate Day. So with that, pirates, thank you, love you, and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.